looking to attempt to make an automatic dog waterer. I have 3 dogs, 2 large, 1 medium. One of them is a 4-month-old German Shepherd who's going to be well over 100 pounds. So filling up this water dish, even though it's a rather large one, every 20 minutes is a royal pain in the ass. So I've got an old water container, old water cooler jug, and I'm going to make a bracket that this jug will hopefully set in the water, and as the water level goes down, air will siphon in, it'll let water out. Now, you can buy a 2.5 gallon one completely made out of plastic for 25 bucks. So I'm going to try to make this for nothing, just out of scrap wood. The only thing I really purchased was this water dish. Well, pay attention here, and we're going to just kind of wing this thing, and the trick is going to be getting this depth right. I'm not going to take this cap completely off. I'm actually going to drill a hole in it so the water coming out won't be as in much pressure or volume as if the whole jug was open. So as the water level decreases and it gets below that, air will siphon into the jug, relieve the vacuum in the jug, and allow water to flow back in until it seals off and can't suck water in and can't suck any more air in, and then it'll just sit there in hold pattern until they drink. I may end up having to get a bigger dish just because I'm looking at the clearance from here to here. The dogs will have to go in at an angle to get to it, and I just don't think that's gonna work. So let's see if we can find a bigger dish, something that's water safe for the dogs. You know, no BPA and all the other carcinogens that are in there. And these jugs are made out of a polycarbonate, so they don't leach any chemicals into the water. But in 20 years, we'll find out they do. But anyways, let's make a stand that this dish will fit in with a couple boards over it, with the hole this neck will just go down into, and try to get it at the right level. All right, what I did, I love my stainless steel, and if I can find a stainless steel dish approximately this size, I can switch this over or something that's going to work. So I just rough cut a food grade bucket, probably frosting or something came in. I set my fence to the lowest point of depth that I rough cut it to make it nice and straight all the way around. So now I got a dish that's 1 inch taller and 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. In volume, it's going to hold a lot more water. So now I just need to figure out a stand that will hold this dish, because if you follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that the puppy loves to pick the dish up when it's empty and drag it away. Or if another dog is drinking out of it and he doesn't want to share, he steals the dish instead of trying to get the food, which creates a mess. So I have some scrap plywood laying around, and since this is just going to be kind of an experiment, I'm going to use that. I do, however, just seeing that I have 2 pieces of Walmanized 2x4 scrap laying around. So I think I can use these. I can lay a piece of plywood across it. That the jug will set on. And maybe my offal I can lay between it to form a stable platform box of some sort. Now I will keep it forward, but I will keep the legs a little bit longer in the back than the dish, just to provide stability. I got 13.5 outside diameter here, and I've got 10 5/8 inside width. So I need at least one piece that's going to be 10 5/8 long to be able to get between here. So it looks like the dish is actually going to stick out further than the end of the wood. So I may take and cut this wood at an angle such as this, just to cushion the edges. I could actually maybe run a screw into the very top lip of this right here to hold the dish. But I don't think I want to do that because I want to be able to take the dish out and wash it. So the key point here is probably finding a bucket or a container that is food safe. You know, 5-gallon buckets come for everything from oil to paint to all kinds of hazardous chemicals. We want to make sure that even though we clean it and wash it out, some chemicals can still seep into the plastic and they can actually leach out into the water. So you want to make sure you get a good food grade plastic dish. Measure twice, cut once. Now, pay in mind this is going to be a rough design first, so we're going to make one just to get you guys excited enough to do this, show you the basics, and it's at that point that you can make this however you want. You can use better wood, fancier wood, a fancier covering. I'm just using scrap I have laying around to solve a problem I have right now, and we'll worry about making one prettier later on. But I'm still going to kind of cut the edges and chamfer the edges off, and you know, I guess I could even paint this thing and it would look okay. So let's make 2 legs the same length, and then we'll chamfer these edges, and then we'll screw it together, and then we'll make our plywood top that the jug will set in. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that the dogs have enough room up front to get the water they need. So I want this spout as far back as I possibly can get it. Now right now it's sitting right on the bottom. When I put the plywood in, I'm hoping I can get it a 1/4 inch off the bottom would be all I would, all I would need. And hopefully it'll maintain enough water level. If not, maybe I can shim it up or shim it down one direction or the other to work. So all I'm trying to do now is get my support legs back far enough that the dish is still going to be held and secured. And to do that, I need to put it right here on the tip of the radius, or the apex of the radius, I guess. So then I can cut a 45 or so back off this corner to clean up the edge. And then back here, I would just cut a 45 or so down just to soften that edge. So that leaves a good 4 inches to 5 inches here in the front of the bucket to get water. 2 dogs can come in easy enough. We got the base made. The dish just comes in and out. What we need to do is figure out a top for it to support the water jug. So in order to do that, we got to figure out how far up we want the plywood to cover. And what I'm seeing is the front of the jug is just about flush with the apex of the radius. Those are big words. With the top of the curve. It's pushed all the way back against the back of the bucket, which is where I want it. And so if I lay this plywood on there, again, piece of scrap. I think what we'll do is we're just going to rip it off here and here. So I just need to measure the width of this and then this length. So the piece of wood's got to be 13.5 by 9.5. I don't always trust the guides on the fence, and the rip fence. I think they're good for a rough build or to get you close. So I always double check them. Remember, you can always make a board shorter, but you ain't making it longer. So I cut it this way already for my 13.5, so I just need to rotate it 90 degrees. Well, if you have a bad part on your wood, now's a good time to trim it off. That's why you see me look to make sure I got straight edges. I got the worst part of the wood cut off. This will lay on there pretty much just like this. We're just going to sink it down with some 1.5 or 2-inch screws I've had left over from other jobs. I don't take a whole lot to hold it. Gravity does really most of the work. So these 2.5-inch screws are probably overkill. Five screws in that is going to hold it more than enough. So here's the basic part of it. This just goes in. Easy to take out for cleaning. I want this jug as close to the back as possible. So in order to do that, flip it over, set your jug in, make sure it's centered, 5/8 on the inside, which makes sense. So that's 5 3/8 almost. So if you make a mark one way and you make a mark the other way, so I got 5 1/8. So we're going to go 5 1/4, and that's going to be close enough to center. For what we're building. Now set your jug. Center your jug on that mark as best as possible. So now we got to figure out a way to put that hole in. I'm not in my normal shop, so I don't have all my good tools with me. So I found my door installation kit. One trick I learned from doing doors is you go from both sides. You score one side, and then you got your pilot hole. You come around the other side, you score it, or continue your pass through, and that'll stop it from blowing out. Well, if I was to peel this cap off right now, it would fit through this hole, but at the moment it don't, which is fine. I don't really want to take this off. I want to be able to I want to be able to drill this out, so I don't have such a huge hole. Might help with not spilling as much. I also rescued this from an old water cooler. It's just a cradle. So this might allow me to get my height adjustment that I needed. We'll see. I'm going to use my little trim router to open this hole up. Okay, well here's the finished product. I had some purple paint laying around, some purple latex, so that's what I used. I put it on really super thick and heavy. Although the wood is treated, the plywood is actually treated, and they're exterior screws, I really put the latex on super heavy with the hopes that it'll help seal it off better. Now, you know, I made this rough. This ain't a finished piece. This is merely to get ideas out there and get people started. If you want to make one out of oak or mahogany and trim it up and stain it and polyurethane it, hey man, do that. If you're looking to make something really quick, I don't know, I probably spent half hour, 45 minutes actually making. Sorry, had a slight interruption. As I was saying that, you know, if you want to make one out of real nice wood and polyurethane it and whatever, please go ahead and do that. Something quick, easy. Sometimes I do things like this just to see if it's going to work, and I don't have any money invested. I have hardly no time invested, and I'm going to watch and see how it works. And if it works, I may end up making a nicer one or painting this up nicer. So I'm going to set the camera down here. You're going to see me put the bucket in, and we're going to go from there. Okay, here's my dish. I set this on just a couple little runners just to help protect the floor from probably the still wet paint. Going to be probably a little practice to get this thing to load up without spilling too much. But there you go. Kodiak. So, please comment, subscribe to my channel, check out a lot of my other videos. I got a lot of different things going on there. This appears to be working. It fills up with water, it doesn't overflow, and as the puppy's drinking out of it right now, I do see a couple little air bubbles popping up, so it's maintaining its level. Success. This would be good for chickens, turkeys, waterfowl, farm animals of some sort. Comment, subscribe, share my channel. Thank you.